Hello, it's little more than 10 weeks since the heartbreaking end to England's World Cup campaign. If you're not over it yet, you should be, because the race for the League Leaders' Shield and Grand Final trophy is underway. Super League is back. Well, joining us for week one, we have the Huddersfield Giants prop Earl Crabtree and the Salford Red Devils coach Brian Noble. Earl, how big a year is it for the sport to build on the World Cup?
I think so. We've got Super League 19.
What would you like to see from the sport this season?
A bit of the fun from the World Cup.
The league has new sponsors, a number of new players, and one team even has a new identity. Dave Woods has been to the home of the freshened up Salford Red Devils to mark everyone's card for 2014. We will get to London in a little while, but what do you think having relegation back will do to the competition?
It definitely makes it a little bit more exciting, I think, for the games at the end of the season. It's not just for the top of the league to worry about, it's the bottom we've already got, which is so special.
And Warrington lost a huge amount of experience, but Tony Smith really excited about the young players he's got coming through.
Yeah, so he should. I mean, Breers has gone, hasn't he? And he seems to have been a fixture in Super League forever. What are we going to do without Lee Breers? And I mean that in the nicest way. But, you know, Roy Asatazi's come in. He's an experienced front row with a lot of NRL experience. But they've still got a heck of a lot of talent when you...
Well, it looks like a wide-open competition this year, and we got our first idea of the form of two title contenders on Friday night. The defending champions Wigan were up against last year's league leaders Huddersfield. So, Earl, your season is up and running. I'm not sure we can actually pick it up because it's quite subtle. You got a nice little shiner for your troubles from that match. How was it for you?
Yeah, there was definitely fireworks on the night, and I think one...
Danny Brough, it's obviously that he's the reigning man of steel, and he picked up where he left off, and he was fantastic for you guys again.
Yeah, he was disappointing with himself as well a couple of occasions because he did some unbelievable stuff, as he always does.
You know, Danny Brough is an absolutely world-class player.
Interestingly, Paul Anderson said about last season that one of the pluses for you, there were no big injuries. The downside to that game, poor Alan Patrick, a dislocated kneecap, which sounds horrible, out for 12 weeks. That's going to be quite a blow for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, we talk about team, but he'll bounce back.
Possibly the turning point, wasn't it? As Wigan was surging back, a clever kick-off from Danny Brough again, and this was a...
He started very hard, but they just didn't seem to have that final quality for me, and I'm sure that they'll get better, and I think this tough physical game for them was perfect preparation for going over to Australia. Matty
Bowen, it was an interesting challenge, but he's all right. He's going to be playing in the World Cup Challenge. What did you make of his debut?
I thought it looked very, very exciting. I think they've got a great replacement for... Of course they can.
Jolly good. Well, believe it or not, there was only one new coaching appointment over the winter months. Hull FC were the team making the changes, with Lee Radford replacing Peter Gentle. The Black and Whites have high hopes after a nightmare end to 2013. Brian, you know Lee Radford well. He's the youngest coach in Super League, and it's a big job, isn't it, Hull FC?
He hasn't gone grey yet. I'm hoping that he does, just so I can get him back a little bit. Yeah, of course it's a big job. They're a big club.
Looking across the city at Hull KR, a lot of changes they've had to make again, but the big miss obviously for them. So high hopes in Hull, but in the capital, they're just happy to be around. The London Broncos had no home and only 10 players on the books in the middle of December. They were saved when a deal was agreed for them to play in Barnet this year. It has been an eventful few months.
Get these guys into games and getting them ahead in contests.
It's been a tough old winter for Tony Ray, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm thrilled that London are up and running. I think we all are deep down. And then you throw the big question mark their teams off as well.
It is the start of a new era, new home, new owners. Does everybody, do you think, in Super League, and everybody in Rugby League, hope this is... They're not the only ones who've had troubles over the winter. Let's start with Bradford. Talk again today that they might have another new owner. Also talk that Carvel might be signing for Hull. It's been a choppy time again at Bradford, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I read somewhere they were taking us.
And the other ones who've had a difficult time, Wakefield, had to sell players to balance the book. Lee Smith going today off to Rugby Union. Interestingly, though, Richard Agar, he did this 2 years ago.
Straight away.
And the other two teams that missed out on the 8 but were disappointed to miss out, Castleford and Widnes, do you think they can get themselves into that 8?
Oh, most definitely. And nobody's spoken about them, so they've done it without that element of scrutiny, if you like. I think Castleford was...
Well, as well as their Super League title, Wigan are defending the Tetley's Challenge Cup this season, and the leading amateur sides kicked off the tournament last week. The teams come from across the United Kingdom, and no one travelled further on the road to Wembley than the Scottish champions, the Aberdeen Warriors. Proper rugby league conditions. We talked about the legacy of the World Cup earlier. Scotland were fantastic in the World Cup, had a brilliant campaign. How important up there that they try and build on that and grow the game north of the border?
Well, I think it's important that they're allowed to play in Scotland, and what I mean by that is that they've got some clubs to...
Isn't it from there? Pilkington Rex will play Mighton Warriors in the next round, and we'll have Challenge Cup coverage this year from the 4th round onwards. Next week's Super League show is on Monday night at 11. 5 Live Sports Extra from 7:30. Well, finally tonight, a word about Sam Burgess, England's best player at the World Cup, but he looks destined for a move to rugby union. How big a loss to rugby league will he be if he does go?
I think he'd be the worst signing that could actually go over to
and keep him in rugby league. I'm not sure that rugby union...
That is it for now. Wigan and Huddersfield are underway and everyone else will be off and running by the end of the week. We'll leave you with a preview of the rest of round 1 and see you with the highlights next Monday. Goodbye.